Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another Legendary Difficulty first 20 turn guide for a faction within Total War Warhammer 2. This time I'll be covering the Beastmen, specifically Khazrak One-Eye. So there's 3 different Legendary Lords as the Beastmen, and they do all kind of have different playstyles in the beginning. Like when you play as, for example, the Tomb Kings, all 4 of their races, all 4 of the factions within that race, you can apply a guide to any 4 of those. But with this one here, you really have to tailor the guide to the specific Legendary Lord because they do have different start positions and also different strengths and weaknesses. Anyway, let's jump into turn 1 and I'll start explaining what we got to do. Okay, so here we are on turn 1. But before we get started on any decisions that need to be made, got to lay down the frameworks just like we do with other guides. Got to keep in mind that the decisions that we're going to be making here are to really get a reliable framework so that people who are new to Legendary Difficulty can make these decisions and emulate this campaign without going, oh man, that looks too difficult, I'm not going to be able to follow that, this is too micro-intensive, or this is too ballsy, this is beyond my scope. We want the decisions to make be like, oh yeah, I feel like if I do that, I can emulate that just as easily. That's the kind of stuff we want to do. Now, what we need to be doing at the beginning of the campaign is focusing on getting Khazrak leveled up and obtaining as much money as possible. So just like with most other factions, we gotta be locking down the enemy and fighting as many battles as possible. We don't want to be fighting huge epic battles that are going to get our armies completely wiped out. We want to be fighting small scale fights that are going to get us lots and lots of experience. First thing I highly recommend you do is jump into diplomacy, toggle attitude, go to Clan Scryer, and get a defensive alliance. First thing you should do, okay? Because things can go horribly wrong in a Beastman campaign, and having Skaven Blight as a ally, having Clan Scryer as an ally, you can easily just get back over here and then just be safe, okay? Have a safe ground where you can get passive replenishment, they won't get annoyed at you, and also if anyone declares war on you, they're also declaring war on Clan Scryer, and what that means is that basically you don't want anyone declaring war on you, okay? And they're going to be far more less deterred to do so. And that way as well, if it's a defensive alliance, if Clan Scryer declares war on anyone, you don't have to worry about it too much. Although, if anyone declares war on Clan Scryer, you're dragged in as well. But you don't have to worry about that too much. Now, the next thing to worry about, we have to eliminate Estalia here. Now, don't worry about Tabaro. Clan Scryer will sort that out. It does seem like you could send this army down here and you could take it out. But if you do that, you're not really going to be able to take out Magritta next turn, and that's what we want to do. So what we want to do is firstly check their movement range, okay? If possible, we want to get this army to come out and attack us over the end turn, and so we need to leave adequate bait. Now the AI is not particularly intelligent, they're not watching your end turn, right? Yeah, let me just stay back in this stance. They didn't see me make that move right there. So what we want to do here is hand over all of the troops over to Khazrak. Put Khazrak in hidden encampment stance. And have this dude here go into raid stance. Okay? And what that's going to do is that this guy is going to see it. Maybe move a little bit closer. Basically use him as bait. That guy's going to see it. He's going to be like, ooh, I can take out that army easily. And walk right into an ambush. Now, with this army here, we could totally beat Magritta right now, if we could reach it. But if we could split up the battles, instead of having one big battle, have lots of smaller battles, that would be better because we get more experience out of that. So keep him there and recruit 1 Ungor Spearman and 1 Ungor Raider. Okay, as for technology, we want to be getting the passive replenishment. That's going to be crucial in keeping a constant war going, which is absolutely what you need. You could go for Seeds of Hate, but that's 5 grand. That's pretty much all your money. Instead, don't worry about that so much right now. We got to get some more money in first. Now, as for buildings, first thing we really want to prioritize is just pumping straight up to tier 5. Then the next thing after that, you probably want to get the Pile of Flesh and then the Desecrate Altar. They've recently buffed this. It used to actually reduce the amount of growth in your hordes, but it doesn't do that anymore. So there's a like 50% off all of your units will allow you to actually have more troops, and still probably maintain a positive income. You want to maintain a positive income at least until you've got a strong enough army that you feel like you can handle constantly fighting and make your money that way, which is not the case at this stage. Okay, so he's only making 16 gold. It's not about that. It's about getting them lured over here. Now, if they don't come at us, we should still be fine to make the attack next turn. Alright, even though we didn't get a chance to ambush them, they still looked at us and went, yeah, we can beat this. And this is great. The only downside to this is that Khazrak One-Eye isn't the one leading the battle, but this is still really good. So let's fight this battle here, and let's defeat them. Now, they've got, I say, missile superiority. We really need to sort of lock down these crossbowmen pretty early on. So going wider than them is probably going to be a good idea. I'm going to put the Gors on the flanks and put the Ungor Raiders on the other flank here, so that we can envelop this army as quickly as possible. With the Minotaurs, you want them in the front, surrounded by allied troops. These guys here up in the front, they don't need to be surrounded by allied troops too much. Alright, now what I'm going to do here is put them in a control group and then just select attack. People ask me all the time how to do this, and it seems pretty easy. Locked control group, make sure it's locked, and then just make the attack. This battle is going pretty damn well. The only problem here is them. I mean, they're doing a little bit of damage, nothing major. There's nothing that we can do to catch up to them. We need the Ungor Raiders to catch them. But, you know, they're currently a little bit busy. Okay. I'm going to pull this guy back here to try to lure this back a little bit so we can shoot them. Almost in range. It's really bad that our Ungors have taken so much damage. But, you know, overall, this is still a good battle for us. Severely weakening them, making it easy for us to launch the attack on the city. Alright, there's the Amulos penalty, and we try and run them down as much as possible. We don't want to wipe them out, nor do we want to wipe out Lupio Sunscryer here. Otherwise, I'll just replace it with a Fresh Lord. Alright, now, as for these, we don't want to go with units replenish, because it's not actually going to affect Khazrak's army. If Khazrak actually was able to do the ambush, I'd recommend getting the replenishment. But because this dude here, go with the money. There's no reason to delay now. We can launch the attack. Probably want to keep this guy out of it, but this is fine. Yeah, it'll say the odds aren't in our favor, but don't worry about that. It is. This is actually going to be really easy now. Probably best to keep this guy out of raid stance, because we'll want him to participate. What you could also do, if you want to get a full health general, just switch him out for someone else. But I'm pretty happy with the situation here. Now, because Lupio, he did actually get some replenishment, but he is damaged. Khazrak isn't damaged at all, so that's really lucky. And the Minotaurs. Those two units being undamaged, that's really good for us. Alright, let's launch this attack. It'll say that we don't stand a chance, but yeah, we'll be fine. Alright, don't worry about this dude coming in as reinforcements. We need to knock down that gate. So, to do that, we want the Minotaurs to be bashing down the gate, but they can't be standing up front, or else they'll be the first ones getting shot. Also, there's a blind spot right in here for the towers. I want to try and stay within that area. So just try to make sure that the Minotaurs don't move up front. Keep them in the rear. They'll knock down the gates pretty damn quickly. Now, if you want, you can send some guys up on the wall to lock down the crossbowmen, but you totally don't need to. I'm not going to in this battle, because we'll be through the gate pretty quickly. Now, as for the archers, you want them to be shooting at units on the other side of the wall, not up here, because they're just not going to shoot effectively. Try to make sure that, yep, we're in the blind spot. Good, so the towers can't get us. Not that these low-level towers do a whole lot of damage, but it's just free damage for the enemy. Why let them? So, you could go charging up the walls, but I don't recommend doing it because it makes your units tired. Instead, just bash through the gate, and it's actually a bit more advantageous to us to fight in a blob, rather than fight spread out because of the leadership buffs that our generals provide. Our guys don't have a lot of leadership, especially in Legendary Difficulty, so got to be mindful of that. Alright, all infantry, punch through. So let them go in first, and then we'll send in the Minotaurs. We want these two guys here to try to actually kill Lupio, or wound Lupio Sunscryer now. Alright, with that, send in the heavy hitters. Now, the reason why we want to do that is because these Minotaurs, they fight really well amongst ranks of your allied troops, because they're not able to get, like, hit in the rear between, small units hitting within their ranks. Now, another thing that you can do is, because they're so big and have high mats, you can just pull them right through the enemy infantry. Because they're locked down tight here now, you can actually use them as a flanking force. And just cause absolute mayhem. This is a bit of a problem with low-range units. Now, because they don't have any melee units on the wall now, we can actually send our Ungor Raiders up to fight them. Like, they're not doing a good job in shooting, so I might as well have them fight in melee, because they're actually better melee fighters than their dudes. Looking like all their archers are going to be tied down now. We can once again pull through the weakest spot in their line, and use them as a flanking force. Good, there's nothing out here to stop us, and the archers aren't going to do anything now. Okay, he should be going down real soon now. There he goes. That's GG. So, decent amount of loot. Gained an item, which is... whatever. It's not a big deal, that one. And we want to loot and raise, because we need that cash. Cool, so Khazrak has gained 2 levels up from that. 1 into this, and 1 into that. We want to reduce upkeep costs as quickly as possible, so that we can actually have more troops. At the beginning stage of the campaign, we don't want to really run a negative unless we're in a desperate situation, which I don't want that to happen. Don't bother upgrading this. Like I said, just leave that guy for situations like this. Just have him accumulate growth, but aside from that, do nothing else. And that's all we need to do this turn. Now, with Magritte destroyed, we can actually get this dude here to... I should have actually put him on raiding stance last turn. He had enough movement. Not going to get any money, but he'll gain more experience. We can get him to search the ruins to make just a little bit of extra cash. So, something will pop up. These dice one are really easy. So, let's see. The question mark is there. It's this one. Because you basically just can see that that's the same symbol there. It's... This part here is facing... sort of in that direction. So we know it's that one. There is a cheat sheet that you can get on those puzzles on Steam. Just search in Google Warhammer 2 puzzle solutions. It should be the first thing that pops up. It's like a Steam page. You know, if you don't want to do that kind of stuff. Because, like, for the dial of the old ones, I don't like doing those. I just use a cheat sheet. But I like doing the dice ones and the matcha pairs. Although it makes me feel like a little bit of a kid, because they're the easy ones. But the dial of the old ones, you basically need Photoshop for that. Anyway, what we want to do here, like, Bilbalia, well, Estalia has no strength left, right? They've got a general, but a very small force. We need to get to them before they recruit too much. It's possible that they don't have a barracks here at the moment, but we need to get some intel. We can't force march as Beastmen. Now, we could go into encamp stance, but I'm going to just leg it. There's 2 options that we can do when we get here, but I just need to get some intel there first. Alright, all that looks good. Let's move on. So here we're on turn 4. We can possibly destroy Estalia this turn. Let me just see what their strength ranking is. Okay, we should actually be able to beat it. But it might actually be in our best interest to actually let them live. Alright, since they've got wine here, they're only recruiting either spearmen or archers. Obviously not really a big deal. So, what we could do... Because after we've defeated Bilbali, what comes after that? You got to think a little bit ahead. We can blow this up, we can make a bit of money out of it, but it's not exactly a lot. If this settlement here ends up building a barracks, they'll only ever be able to produce, at best, pretty basic units. And even if it ends up being full stacks, we'll still have a pretty good chance of getting them. So what I'm thinking at this point here is stand over here-ish. Let me just see if there's better... So this is light forest. Stand there. Go into hidden encampment. That way we get some replenishment. If we go into raid stance, we're not going to get any replenishment. We are 3 turns away from getting the Dark Moon, and that'll provide an event. But we'll go into replenishment stance there and get this dude to come up. So we're going to do to them the exact same thing that we did over here and farm the living shit out of them for experience. Because at the moment, that's more valuable than anything. We got to get the cost down on this. So, we've got enough growth that we can grab this. We've got the money. Let's do it. As for upgrading this stuff right away, I wouldn't recommend it. We really need to get the growth infrastructure first. Because you want to just rush straight to Bestigals with Khazrak. He gets a 30% upkeep bonus with them. And when you add on top of this, and this, so what's that? 95%. But then again, on Legendary Difficulty, you pay an extra 10%. So it's actually, you'd only end up paying a 15% upkeep on your Bestigal units. Which is really bloody cheap. You could, at the beginning of the campaign, afford a full stack, you know, if you had that stuff all built up. Full stack of Bestigals, which are some of your best infantry units. Alright, that's all we need to do. Let's move on. Now, our ambush didn't work, but that's okay. And he just walked right through us, which was kind of annoying. But what we're going to do here is just retreat. And he set himself up to fail. There's no way he's going to catch us. Oh, hang on. This is really good. I would prefer to go for the Bray Shaman, personally, over the Gorbul. So we got one of Shadows with Booze Craving. I don't really get Centigores, but overall that's still good. So I'm going to attach this guy to the army. Move Khazrak down to here. And I think if I attack here, because he discovered us, right? And he just decided he didn't want to attack Khazrak. He is probably going to run away on the first attack. So I reckon he's going to run away, and he'll run in this direction. And what this will do is stop Khazrak from using up way too much movement. Nope, I was wrong. They actually launched the attack. We got an ambush in on that. Oh, right. They don't get a choice in that manner. Okay, I'm actually going to cancel that attack, because I actually wanted him to retreat. And we'll actually use Khazrak. Again, he might retreat this time, or we might get an ambush. Okay, cool, we got the ambush. This is a super easy fight. Let's do it. Decent amount of money, paying for our troops. And more importantly, that level up. So we certainly have taken a fair bit of damage at this point. We don't really need Bestial Rage right now. So it's not a whole lot of replenishment. So I'm going to go with Sacrifice Captives. Right, so we got one victory over them. And we want to farm them for as many victories as possible. So obviously defeat them now. We want Khazrak to be the one to make the attacks, but at the same time, he's going sort of in the opposite direction of where he really needs to be. We want to be able to attack the remaining, the general that they're going to recruit next turn. So what I'm going to do is just have Khazrak come in as reinforcements this time. So I'm going to select Blessed by Evil for his rank up. I want to get that done as quickly as possible. Now, another thing to consider is how many troops you have in your army. If you have 16 out of 20, you can't get a Bray Herd. That's actually a good thing right now, because a Bray Herd is a little bit of a wild, uncontrollable army that will probably just go and blow up Bilbali. We do not want Bilbali to be destroyed, so keep your army at size 16, because at this point here, the Bestial Rage is going to increase by a fair bit. So have this guy finish the job. Definitely don't want to fight this in auto resolve, and we'll just try to minimize the amount of damage we take during it. Okay, nice decisive victory, minimal casualties, but if we are going to take casualties, try to make it be on the units that we can actually replace. And I'm going to go for the money over replenishment, because we can always just recruit more units, and we really do need cash. Now, that's essentially the hard part of the guide over. Once you're at this point here, you've got a real easy path ahead of you if you choose to take it. Now, you've got to think a little bit ahead here, that if you were to destroy Bilbali and finish off Estalia, that seems to be like the obvious thing to do. But sometimes you have to not do the obvious, right? Because if you destroy Bilbali, what's next? You go into Castle Carcassonne, they're going to have a full stack by now. You think you're going to take that city with this? Nope. And even if you recruit loads of troops, you don't exactly have a lot of money, and you're probably still going to fail. They're going to be a lot harder to beat than Estalia. You go over to Tilia, same problem. Probably even worse going over there. So what we can do instead is level up Khazrak by basically abusing the fuck out of Bilbali. Use them as a punching bag. And I really do mean that kind of literally, because you're using them to gain experience, valuable experience, which otherwise would take a very long time. In fact, doing it this way will net higher experience than if you were to just play the game normally. And what this is going to do is set you up for the rest of the campaign, because you need those levels up. Because there's some vital stuff in here. Blessed by Evil, minus 15% upkeep cost for all units. You know, that will mean you can afford more troops. Then there's, you know, Children of Chaos, or Lightning Strike. Although you don't need Lightning Strike as the Beastman, that would still be useful. And then you can start moving down other chains as well, getting these experiences quite quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move a little bit to... You know what, I'm not actually going to encamp at all. I'm just going to move straight up to here. Because we want to make sure that we can actually attack the general that they will recruit next turn. Now, when they recruit a general, the dude should be standing outside of the city. So let me just have a look. Yep. Alright, so we don't want the garrison to come in and help. So we besiege the settlement with one army. That's why you absolutely need to keep him. And then take out the other one with Khazrak. Hopefully we ambush it this time here, because otherwise he'll just retreat, and that way we won't get 2 battles out of it. Unfortunately, the ambush failed. It is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. And attack him. So we've gained this here. It's not super useful, but it is what it is. Khazrak's in pretty bad shape, so definitely want to keep him out of this fight. But yeah, gotta fight this manually to make sure that I don't take too much damage. Decisive victory, no casualties. Basically just utilize my archers there, just by kiting him around. So I've got 1 turn until the full moon. So we'll get an event with that. And Khazrak, we're just going to put him into hidden encamp stance here. And we definitely don't want to keep this under siege, or else they won't recruit another general. So, lift it. And it doesn't really matter so much where you put this dude, because they're not going to have enough movement to catch it. Alright, so we got, when one falls, cost of skill, beastly inclination, no matter how far. Unfortunately, we didn't get the one for growth. That probably would have been the most useful. But since we've got a damaged army, it will cost us growth, but it shouldn't matter too much in the long run. It'll only be for 2 turns. So I'm going to go with this, and then all of our units are going to be repaired next turn. And we rinse and repeat. Alright, so unfortunately, their witch hunter wounded our Bray Shaman. So he's going to be gone for another 4 turns. That's really unlucky. But, you know, these things happen. One of their generals has escaped over here. Now, I also saw that Carcassonne sent a full stack out this way. They're probably going towards over here to try to attack Ikitclaw. Now, that means that Castle Carcassonne is probably not very well defended. Which means this is the time we've been waiting for. It's now time to get rid of this shit. So... let's see how we're going to go about this. Honestly, Khazrak's the one that really needs to move out this way. So I'm going to have this guy here move in to make the attack. And we're going to have Khazrak come in as reinforcements. So in this battle I decided to kill this general, because I didn't want him to just recolonize this right afterwards. And now we get a pretty decent amount of money from burning it down. Now that's not the end of Astalia, because another one of their dudes ran away over here. I don't necessarily need to wipe out the faction, but we're done here because we saw Carcassonne come down. That's what we were waiting for, something like that to occur. The biggest downside to this right now, though, is that our Bray Shaman is wounded. He would really help in the attack at Castle Carcassonne there. But it should be really poorly defended. Now's our time to go and have a look. I'm going to leave this guy behind. So I'm going to use up most of our movements. Alright.
It is forbidden.
Go into encamp stance there. Could attack this, but that'll give away the game. Alright, we got another Dark Moon event. And unfortunately... Oh, there it is. Endless Herd. No, none of your armies are replenished, but you'll gain Horde Growth plus 8. That's pretty good. I mean, 1 falls plus 50% replenishment. I mean, our army is currently a little bit damaged. I'm going to go with Endless Herd, because we really need that growth now, because we've got plenty of money. So what's happened here is Carcassonne has gone and occupied Bilbali, and that's totally fine. You could go and smash them right now. It's an easy battle. But this army here is of no real concern. If they want to develop up this province, it's going to take them a while. But if we were to blow up Castle Carcassonne, that'll cripple them for the foreseeable future and make it way easy for us to fight them later down the track. So, what I'm going to do is just going to let them have that. I was going to search ruins, but the AI loves to search, to occupy the ruins themselves. And we're going to finish off Astalia here. So, the witch hunter that assassinated our dude, our brave shaman, we can finally get our revenge on him. This will probably be an easy auto-resolve. Since it's on force march, there's no way of getting a second battle out of this. And that's Astalia dealt with. We could have killed them a lot earlier than this. I mean, you can kill them on turn 4 or 5 if you really push it. But what we've done here is we've got Khazrak One-Eye to level 14 by turn 15. That's really, really good. Because not only is it on a Razorgore chariot, he's got increased chance of ambush successes and loads of extra growth coming in. And we can now start improving all of our Ungors. Now, we're going for this because eventually he's going to end up with Bestigors. So, we can get benefit out of it now and later. And he's almost got enough growth. He'll have enough next turn to build this up. Now, we definitely don't want to give away the game. But we'll see what the raiding income's going to be like over here. 661. It's not bad. We've got plenty of money at the moment, but at the same time, I kind of want to wait a little bit before attacking this. Because I saw one army went down this way, and this was another one. So I think both of their armies are in this area here. That's what I saw. So we want to get an idea of what we're going to be up against. They're considered a lot stronger than us, but they got 2 armies, and we don't even have a full stack right now. Okay. So just cautiously approach. Another thing is that you really don't want to run into the Wood Elves. So they're unlikely to be here, but you never know sometimes. Just be careful. And we want to get the Fell Rituals. Well, we've actually got so much money that I guess we can justify the Seed of Hate. That'll help speed this up a little bit. Cautiously approach now. There's nothing in there. Completely undefended. This guy here won't make it. So there's 12 units in there. We've got 15. Alright, so, given the situation, we've got plenty of money. What are the units that we're going up against? Always try to check what you're going to be going up against. The Knights of the Realm will certainly be a problem. And also the fact that we've got no replenishment. How many turns until our Brave Shaman arrives? 2 turns. I reckon I could do that without it, but the problem is, we've still got 5 turns of Endless Herd. You know, we're going to get wrecked in that fight there. I think it'd be best if I go into encamp stance and recruit a couple of extra troops. So that actually might put us into the negative, but that's okay. Alright, so a bit of a situation has now come in. The Empire is actually sending some force against us. And that's a full stack. It's definitely something to be concerned about. And it's a good thing we caught wind of it before they actually attacked. Okay, we gotta come up with a plan. Basically, this puts our attack on Castle Carcassonne at hold, and this is exactly why we didn't want to declare war on someone before making the actual attack on, like, their capital. In case something like this arises. I suspected that maybe the Wood Elves might have been out here, but they're usually pretty passive in there for the time being. So we need to ambush this army. That's the most important thing. It would have really helped if this guy was available. But he's still wounded for like another turn. So he'll come back next turn. So it's just a matter of where we want to stand. I'm going to stand over here. Right there. Keep him out in the open. Khazrak will stay there. Go into ambush stance. Or encampment stance. And... let's see here. We could recruit some more units. Or we could get some Regiment of Renown. They're not exactly amazing units. But that's all we've got. Like I said, I kind of don't want to even attack him until next turn. So what we'll do is... yeah, look, he's not going to be able to catch us. Not be able to make an attack. If he's going to come down here, he'll force march, right? So if we can catch him next turn on force march, that would be ideal.
Not likely.
Alright, let's have a look here. It might be time to actually merge some of these units. Just so I can get back up to full strength. Like, Ungors aren't really that great. They're basically got the same stats except a little bit higher melee defense. So I'm going to merge them. I'm not going to get rid of the Gors. I'm going to get both of the Regiment of Renown. And recruit one unit of Ungor Raiders. Thing to consider as well, this guy is only level 4 and we're level 14. This is why gaining loads of experience makes a big difference. Alright, we're leaving one slot in there for the Bray Shaman. So came in and... ambush was failed. Okay, not a big deal, but this gives us intel on what their army is. So yeah, with Legendary Difficulty now, AI gains passive experience. This army here has probably only ever seen one battle, and that's a significant amount of experience that they've obtained. So they've got war wagons. I'm not too concerned about them. I think that they're one of the weakest units that they've got in their roster now. Mortars are definitely a problem, and we don't have any particularly fast units that can, like Centigors, that can catch them. Not yet, anyway. Although Khazrak is on a chariot now. But since the ambush didn't succeed, like, we do have a unit in recruitment, but there's no advantage to us to fight this right now, so I'm just going to decline the attack. He's not going to be able to attack us because he's in force march. And like I said, next turn, we'll have a Bray Shaman, and that will make a big difference. Oh, look, additional casualty replenishment rate reduction, but that's not going to matter since it's already at 0%, so that's not a problem at all. Alright, so looking at this, full stack, but he is on force march. We win here, he gets wiped out. We lose here, it's game over. So, but we should be able to win. Touch the Bray Shaman, of course. Gained a level up while he was wounded. I've already used up all the Regiment of Renown. There's no time to recruit anything else. It's do or die time. Unfortunately, we didn't ambush them. That's just really, really unlucky. But that doesn't mean, like, we can't win. In fact, I think we've actually got a decent chance. It's going to rely very heavily on the wizard, though. So I'm going to fight this, and I think we'll be fine. Now, War Wagon's base speed of 50. This guy's speed 62. So if I can get him to take out the War Wagons, they're really terrible in melee. So we should be able to kill them pretty easily. So what we want to do is just stand way back for now. Keep Khazrak over here, that's fine. They'll know where we are because of the Minotaurs there, but that's fine. Definitely going to want to go wide on this one, I think. And what we want to be doing is utilizing our magic to weaken them to begin with. Also, if we can waste the ammunition of their mortars... You know, the mortars could do a hell of a lot of damage to our infantry. We need to make sure that they're protected. They're not charging at us, so we'll just wait here and just let the mortars run out of ammunition. And what that does is takes out one of their best units and just nullifies it completely. The chances of them actually landing a hit is really low. And don't forget, the odds are against us, so we need to make sure the odds are moved a little bit more in our favor. And if the AI is going to make bad decisions, let them. Now, if we cast a magic spell on them now, they'll start charging at us. And what will end up happening is the mortars will move into position and start bombing our infantry. Like I said, they're absolutely no threat to Khazrak. Some of those shots might land and do a tiny bit of damage, but it's negligible. Now, this is where experience really does come into play. Being able to anticipate exactly where they're going to be when a spell goes off, this can be a little bit tricky. Didn't quite gauge that very well. We still hit them, just they moved slower after I started the cast. I don't want to overcast it because I would much rather cast it more often than get one big spell in. Because if I had overcasted that and missed, that's a big problem. So I'm just keeping Khazrak close by for support for him. It's a nice big blob in there. That should hit them. They've still got a bit of distance to catch up to us. What we could do as well is just fall back a little bit, just to buy a little bit more time. So in case you're wondering what I did there, selected, hold down Alt, press F4. I'm just kidding, don't press F4. Select them all, hold down Alt, and then move them down. Do not press F4. Bit of a running joke on my live streams now. They're not moving really fast, so we should be able to hit them there. Oh, that's going to be a good cast. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's basically just won us the battle. Goodbye, motherfuckers. So get the Minotaurs to take out the war wagons. Not that they're a big threat, it's more of a case of they're worth a lot of bouncer power and they're shit. Sometimes it's good to take out their shit units just to get the win easy. And see, this is why leveling the general up early makes a big difference. Look at the kills that he's getting, like, easily, because of the Razor Gore Chariot. So this victory would not have been possible, I think, if Khazrak and the Bray Shaman were at, like, low level. Again, this is why you need to have that punching bag. We're now in the state where we could get a Bray Shaman, but if I grab this, it won't come in. So I'm actually going to take the replenishment, because we're pretty good for money now. Next turn we'll end up with a Bray Shaman. Bray Herd, sorry. We'll just send it to go attack targets, like, that don't matter that much, like this one over here, which they'll probably lose against, or you just keep them around us as protection. Alright, we'll make our way over there a little bit closer. There's no point going into encampment stance except to recruit, which I don't think we need to. I'm going to merge these Gore herds because they're not going to replenish, and we've got another Gore to regiment of Rennet anyway, and I can replace these guys pretty soon now. So we got a Bray herd here. We could have it come and help us in this battle, but we don't need to. We've got the Minotaur so we can break in, but we're not at full strength. But we're still in better strength than we were when we besieged Magritta. And Khazrak is quite leveled up. So yeah, let's grab this to make our army just a little bit stronger. Let's move in a little bit closer.
No evildoer may receive the blessings of the lady.
Okay. So what we'll do here is we'll speak to Clan Scryer and offer to join war against Carcassonne in exchange for some money. We don't want a regular military alliance, I only want a defensive alliance with them.
Never.
Yeah. Alright, they're not gonna pay a huge amount, so I'll just get a little bit.
Fine.
So it doesn't give us amazing odds, but we'll be fine. Extra armor for assigned units. Let's give it to the Minotaur there. Just try to dodge these shots over here. Don't let Khazrak take too many shots right in the face. Could put a unit or two up on the walls just to tie them down. Which I will do, actually. We'll use the Ungor Spears because they don't matter. Alright, this looks like a reasonable position for this. Good. This is why I went Bray Shaman over Gorbel. Gorbels are good, but I'm telling you, magic. You want to get that magic. We'll see how that goes there. Might hit some of our own units, but we're going to hit way more of theirs. Oh, yeah. This is why we wanted to wait for the Bray Shaman before making the attack. Yeah, on Legendary Difficulty, with the exception of Dwarfs, every single faction that you play as, you should make a priority of getting magic. Because on Legendary Difficulty, the AI receives no bonuses to defense against magic. But they receive huge bonuses to defense against melee. Taking that into consideration, you know what their weakness is. And there's the army loss penalty. Minimal damage, a bit of damage on Khazrak though. Don't think the Gorbals lost any troops. And we got ourselves a decisive victory. So, when choosing whether to raise and defile or loot and raise, it largely just depends on how much money there is. If this money here is like less than 1,000, then I would raise and defile. Because this is always the same, regardless of the size of the settlement. And right now, we could really use that money. Alright, so here we are on turn 20. Everything's looking pretty good. I mean, we still got no replenishment for another turn. But everything's looking solid. I mean, we've essentially got 2 full armies here. So, what I'll do is I'll move my way over to here because we know that they don't have any forces there because we saw 2 armies come this way. They've managed to successfully capture Magritta. We know the Fey Enchantress is there and the other army is here. Now, that other army either went down south or it's coming over here. Either way, we're not going to stick around here to find out. Use this dude here to go and just scout, essentially. We know there's no forces at Brionne. They've got another 12 units in here. And since that was so easy, this is basically exactly the same thing. The only downside is, of course, that Khazrak isn't healing. But keep in mind as well that Endless Herd will actually end up getting replenishment next turn. So, I think. I'm pretty sure. So I'm actually going to move to here because we should still be able to reach it and go into encamp stance. So we'll move on to turn 21, and then we'll wrap things up, because we know that that battle there is not going to be particularly difficult. Next turn as well, he'll be able to grow up for tier 5. But if he's going to blow up that settlement, he won't be able to move, but that's okay. That's the end of what we're going to be doing here. We can make the attack. Did we get any replenishment? I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we got any replenishment on that particular turn. We can see that they're bringing in an army over here, but we could very easily beat that, or you could send in the Bray Herd to, at the very least, soften it up. We've got another army over here, which we could start negotiating with. Getting a confederation with them would be awesome, and all you really need to do is just keep an eye on them and wait for them to get damaged, and then they'll usually confederate. Now, as for what should be doing with Khazrak beyond turn 20. So obviously we're going to attack that, blow up that settlement, but what do we do with him from here? In terms of construction, definitely want to get this to tier 5 first. Then the next thing you want to build is not necessarily going straight up to here, but instead grabbing this. Because growth is now no longer an issue, it's only 4 turns, well actually less, oh it's not quite 4 turns worth of growth now that the thing's done. But that will reduce our upkeep cost by 25% for the entire army. And then go up to here with only 1 growth. So we get 50% off. And that stacks on top of our already 15% off from here. Then once that's done, you want to go up and get the Bestigors. Because when you add up all of the reduced upkeep costs, so you got 30% from there. You get 50% from there. And the 15% from there. That's 95% reduction. But you have to keep in mind as well that on Legendary Difficulty... Alright, so here we are on turn 8, and we should be fully replenished, yep. Gained a level up, and the guy's still alive so that we can fight him again. And we rinse and repeat, because it's all about them rewards. The fun part of the campaign comes later. This is just training. Khazrak has more or less accumulated enough cash that it doesn't really matter that much anymore. And we've set ourselves up for a good solid position. So, and we rinse and repeat. Against the Empire and at Castle Carcassonne, because it leveled up Khazrak and his Bray Shaman. You can choose a Gorbal if you want, but the Gorbal is not going to get that kind of damage in the battle, whereas the Bray Shaman of Shadows totally can. Now you could get unlucky. I'm not entirely sure if you can end up getting like beast magic or wild magic, which are inferior to shadow magic. But even still, those laws of magic are still better for damage dealing than a Gorbel. Gorbels are definitely good, and you do want to get one. Just get magic first. Anyway, that's the end of this guide. Hopefully that's helped you guys, those of you who don't know exactly what to do with this on Legendary difficulty. And let me know in the comments below which faction and race that you'd like me to cover next in Total War Warhammer. Until then, we'll see you next time, fuckers.